Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It was reported this week, sir, that Donald Trump attempted to get a message to Merrick Garland that he feels and these are his words apparently, quote, the country is on fire, and that he wants to know what he can do to calm things down. And given everything that we just outlined, what's your reaction to that reporting that he sent him that message with the suggestion that the country's on fire and perhaps somehow it's Merrick Garland's fault?
I think that it's the exact opposite. It's not an offer to calm things down. I think it's actually a warning. And Donald Trump understands that there are millions of very passionate, ardent supporters, vociferous supporters that he has. And some of those people, not all of them obviously, but some of them are in fact dangerous people who could carry out dangerous terroristic acts. We already saw that with January 6th. We saw that in Cincinnati with the attack on the FBI building. And so when he lists the names of FBI agents, for example, and when Fox News puts out a fake meme or picture, a doctored picture of the judge in the case with Ghislaine Maxwell, they know what they're doing. They're making these people targets of folks who could commit violence against them.
What do you make of the members of the GOP attacking law enforcement and, in some cases, as we highlighted, advocating for violence, saying, you know, if they had FBI agents show up at their house, they'd go back in body bags?
I think what you're seeing is the complete merging of what for a few years was the Trump wing or the far right wing of the Republican Party, which over time has become mainstream and taken over what used to be thought of as the so-called establishment Republicans, people like Kevin McCarthy and a few years ago, Paul Ryan and so forth. And so you have even those folks who are trying to delegitimize federal agencies like the FBI and essentially putting a target on the backs of law enforcement, federal law enforcement. And you know, it's consistent with what we know. Donald Trump now completely owns the Republican Party. Whether he will in 2 years or in 4 years is an open question, depending on what happens with this investigation. He's picked a bunch of Senate candidates that look like they're losers, and so that may upset everybody. But right now, he fully owns the Republican Party.
I wanted to ask you, sir, you know, as a member of the House Intel Committee, and certainly as somebody who deals with and certainly sees classified information, I wanted to get your thoughts on the classified information that Trump has had at his home for the past 18 months. I mean, just how dangerous is it for him to have the documents that he reportedly has had since leaving office?
Well, I've not gotten brief on exactly what he has in his possession. But remember, for context, a president has the highest levels of classified information. In fact, there's some things that only the president and literally a few other people in the country have the opportunity to see. And so it is possible that former President Trump has some classified information that can be very harmful to U.S. national security. And the idea that he would just take these documents home and put them in a place that could be accessible not only to all the patrons of Mar-a-Lago who come in and out of there, but also a lot of foreigners who visit Mar-a-Lago. I mean, remember, you got to remember that when we go into this what's known as the SCIF, this secured facility in the House Capitol complex, we can't take our phone in there. We can't even have a Fitbit. We have to have a code to get in. They only let in authorized visitors and members of the committee. And so, you know, the idea that any one of us would take any kind of classified document out of there is outrageous. And we would certainly pay a price for that. And so should Donald Trump.
And again, because perhaps you have a little bit more insight to this than I do, what are your thoughts and understandings of how Trump saying without any evidence that he magically declassified all the documents in his possession? Is that how it works? The president can just either, retroactively say with a magic wand, hey, this is now declassified because I'm the president or former president, and now I took it with me.
It's very unlikely that he did that. On the one hand, it's true that a president has the power to declassify whatever documents he or she wants. But I believe there were about 18 people that were close to Trump who came out in the last few days and said they knew nothing of any kind of declassification effort like that. He's also never spoken, it seems like, to anybody about that before. So it's highly unlikely, and it seems to be consistent with a pattern of Donald Trump, which he comes up with an ad hoc excuse to excuse what is, illicit, or in this case could be illegal behavior.
Let me, if I can, before I let you go, sir, ask your thoughts about politics for a moment and your reaction to Liz Cheney's primary loss and what this says about the Republican Party, that she was effectively shunned out of office, not for her policies, not for the draconian things that she advocated for, not for the positions that she lobbied as a member of Congress for, but for basically shunning the cult that is the Trump world.
There is no room for truth-telling in the Republican Party today. There is no room for going against the gospel of Donald Trump and for seeing and viewing Donald Trump as anything other than some kind of deity or icon. And very few politicians, as we've seen, survive. Very few politicians' political careers survive crossing Donald Trump. So that's the power that he holds. And I think that's going to be the case at least for the next few years. And I suspect, Eamon, that you're going to see Ron DeSantis and others also become victimized in the 2024 cycle by that very fact. I wouldn't say Ron DeSantis has a shot right now. I think Trump will still eat him up. And so the Republican Party is owned by Donald Trump.